Well, coming up on today's show, US reservations for the Audi e-tron will open in September. The Mercedes EQC is about to debut in Stockholm, and Auto Trader reveal the best electric cars of 2018. Well, good morning, good afternoon and good evening, wherever you are in the world. Hello and welcome to the Sunday, the 29th of July edition of EV News Daily. It's Martyn Lee here with the news you need to know about electric cars and the move towards sustainable transport. We'll kick off with that big Audi news then, and US customers can configure and reserve their 2019 Audi e-tron, the first all-electric vehicle from Audi, from September 17th. You have not got long to wait. The e-tron will make its global debut on the same day at an event in San Francisco. T-minus 1 month and 18 days as of today. I'm excited for this one, you know. On September the 17th, the full e-tron specifications, including the full pricing, will be available and revealed at AudiUSA.com, giving customers the details needed to configure their e-tron and reserve their vehicle with a refundable $1,000 reservation fee. Well, this new Audi reservation system is part of how Audi America will create a digital ecosystem for Audi owners to confidently go electric. After customers place a reservation, they'll then be able to track their order online and with their local dealer. Well, Audi's going to share more details of this ecosystem and offerings for US customers at that San Francisco event in a month and a half's time. As an electric SUV, it also includes digital tools, things like in-home charging solutions and support from all 303 US dealers, the dealer partners as Audi likes to call them. e-tron owners, they say, can confidently choose electric cars knowing they've got the full support of Audi. Well, the 2019 e-tron is, of course, one of the big battery-powered SUVs which will be on the market. Dual electric motors and Audi's brand new Quattro all-wheel drive system. It's going to come with a range of about 245 miles from a 95 kilowatt-hour battery and presumably the automaker's impressive driving dynamics, that legendary Quattro badge on the back of it. Includes a number of integrated digital tools as well to make finding charge stations and understanding range easier for any EV newbies. Well, the e-tron marks the first of 3 purely electric vehicles Audi's going to release by 2020, and the company predicts that by 2025 up to 30% of its US customers will have gone electric. It's interesting reading that press release, by the way. Audi USA, at least, calling it the Audi e-tron, and every other press release I've seen over the last few months calling it the Audi e-tron Quattro. So a few brand communications not quite matching up. Not everything in line there. As far as I know, the official name for it is the Audi e-tron Quattro, because there will be more e-trons. Well, the battery, they say, has been put through extensive crash testing, and it's got a special solid casing to withstand even the worst of collisions. Also has a new dedicated cooling system to help the battery operate at an optimal temperature, particularly if you are going to repeat performance runs on the track. Looking forward to the Audi e-tron Quattro, by the way. I'll put a link to the Audi USA website on the show notes if you want to sign up for their little email system, as I've done but had nothing through the email yet, but you can stick yourself on the mailing list if you are curious about that car. And from one lovely, gorgeous SUV to another, Mercedes-Benz today confirmed the official premiere of the Mercedes-Benz EQC production model is going to be September the 4th. They're going to beat Audi to it. It's going to be in Stockholm. And the EQC's 2 electric motors, again, one front, one rear, are going to have about 150 kilowatts each. It should mean 0 to 60 is dispatched in less than 5 seconds. However, the battery on the EQC, according to this note, is smaller than the Audi e-trons at just 70 kilowatt hours. I'm trying to remember, because I watched the fully charged video and I might have to go and re-watch it straight after this show with Johnny Smith riding it. Do they talk about the battery in that? I know he's very impressed with it, but do they talk about the battery in it? Because the stats from Mercedes-Benz say it's going to do 400 plus kilometres, CCS DC Fast Charging, possible up to 115 kilowatts. I just can't make those numbers in my brain add up. This is going to be a 2.5 ton SUV. They say it's going to do 400 Ks. and yet a 70 kilowatt hour battery. So either I've got the battery size wrong there, or they're going to surprise us and say, ta-da, we made it bigger, or ta-da, we got the range wrong. That is 18 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. If you own a Renault Zoe, you've done that on a kind of average kind of day, worse in the winter, I imagine. And that's a tiny little city car. I know that Mercedes have been working very hard with their software engineers to make this a very efficient SUV, but that would be extraordinary. It would certainly massively beat things like the Jaguar I-PACE figures. By the way, if anybody has seen a YouTube, I can't find it, but a YouTube review where they do a test of the I-PACE and they work out how many kilowatt hours are used per 100 kilometers, just as Bjorn did. Bjorn Nyland earlier this week did like a 2-hour review of the Hyundai Kona, and he did a really good range and efficiency test. If anyone's done one of those with the I-PACE, let me know, because I can't find one, and I'd love to know what the number is for the I-PACE. I can't get my head around the Mercedes EQC being that efficient. Or are they quoting sort of WLTP test ranges that, even though they're more realistic, still aren't real-world range? I'd love your input on this one in the comments section or via email. You can email the show, hello@evnewsdaily.com. Well, Auto Trader have revealed the best electric cars of 2018 and hybrid cars as well, according to a certain set of criteria. Renault Zoe, best budget. Model S, best for long range. Let's go through them then, see if you agree or disagree with Auto Trader. Best budget option, Renault Zoe. One of the cheaper options on offer on the market right now. Can also be bought on a deal where you lease the battery from Renault, which makes your monthly payments even lower, if that's what you want to go for. You can buy the car, of course, from Renault and just have small monthly payments for the battery lease. Then if you are super worried about battery reliability and you want it to be Renault's, on Renault's shoulders, should the battery ever degrade, then they can put a new one in the car because they still own the battery. You're just leasing it off them. The Zoe, I think, is really smart looking. The interior is perhaps a little dated. Auto Trader say it's got a high-tech interior. Well, maybe it was high-tech 5 years ago, maybe 7 or 8 years ago. I don't think the interior of the Renault Zoe is going to win any awards. I disagree with Auto Trader on that account. And this isn't, I'm not bashing, by the way, I'm not bashing the Renault Zoe, because one of my neighbours has one. He has pure black, and he has the rear windows tinted as well. And man, that looks sweet. I love sitting outside his driveway. No, let me rephrase that. I don't sit outside his driveway. I love the car that sits outside his driveway, because that makes me sound like a stalker, the first option. The best for long ranges, according to Auto Trader, is the Tesla Model S. A single charge of the Model S can get you 400 miles. Well, yeah, it depends which one you buy, but I will go with what they're saying, making it a more viable options. It boasts serious performance and clever technology. Auto Trader don't mention the supercharger network, and if you're talking about the best car for long ranges, surely if you're going to give the awards to, and I'm not bashing Auto Trader, if you're going to give the award to the Tesla Model S, you award it not only because of the big battery, and okay, so if you can stump up for a P100D, then lucky you. You've done very well for yourself. But also you have to say that that's in conjunction with the supercharger network, because there's so many of them. Anyway, the most aspirational car, they say, is the BMW i3. They say the BMW is an aspirational electric car, not only for the badge, but its sharp, innovative design and fun handling. Well, I agree. I love the design of the i3, and the handling is good. Plenty of detractors on the styling, though. The most understated award goes to the VW e-Golf. The VW e-Golf, they say, looks like its non-electric counterpart, with blue-tinted headlights and different front grille. Like any other Golf, though, it boasts all the same attributes: high quality, family car practicality, sophisticated driving experience, and no exhaust pollutants. And I would 100% agree with their verdict on that one. I would say, by the way, that the e-Golf, obviously it's not being continued because they've got the ID range coming, but if the ID range wasn't coming, I'd love to have seen them done a proper update to the e-Golf, because it's over the years, Golfs have just been iterated upon. They've just sanded down that rough edge. Not a literal edge, this is a metaphor, by the way. There are no rough edges on a Golf, just because they've had years and years to get them right, and they're a great car. But I don't think the ID is going to be any naff car, but I just love the way, like with the Polo and with the Golf. What are they on now? Is it the Golf Mark 6 or 7? Anyway, I'm sure they'll make the idea a great car. I would have loved to have seen them stick with the e-Golf, but just bigger battery, bigger motors. And finally, they give the award for the best British-built option to the Nissan Leaf. Of course, we won't mention that it's also made in 2 other parts of the world. However, one of the 3 plants is in Great Britain, and they say the British-built Leaf was the first vehicle to convince people in large numbers that an EV was something to consider. It's built in Sunderland, indeed it is, with an improved battery these days, more power, bigger range and better affordability. So I pretty much agree with about 80% of what Auto Trader said there. Do you agree or disagree? Anything to add? Let me know in the comments section or via email, or maybe the comments of YouTube, because we do put the audio on YouTube as well. Well, Zach at Clean Technica, moving on, is looking at the production rates of Tesla. We know they hit 7,000 cars at the final week of the quarter, and next week will be the earnings call, and so we're looking forward to that as well. But Zach's been doing a little bit of digging around. He's been looking at things like the Bloomberg tracker, following Elon's tweets and other people on Twitter as well, and he reckons that those numbers, although they dipped after the last week of the quarter as staff took holidays and they took the leave that had been postponed, that the rate is now going back up to 7,000 vehicles a week. He says if you look at the broad trend, you see slow production growth over the past month, with some dips and with some days over 1,000 vehicles a day. Now, the last update put yesterday's daily production of all Tesla cars at 1,100. 780 of them Model 3s, and of course, if you extrapolate 1,100 cars a day, that would be 7,700 cars a week. Of course, that's a dangerous thing to do because you can't really do that kind of extrapolation. If you want the source of Tesla news and not some randomer on Twitter who, in that article, a lot of people are putting some weight behind this Twitter user who claims to have daily updates from Tesla, but of course could just be someone who's trying to pump the stock. If you want the source of Tesla news, you've got to go to Elon's Twitter feed, and he indicated a few days ago, according to Zach at Clean Technica, that Tesla has risen to 6,000 S, X and 3 a week, but many people have taken that you kind of need the around symbol, kind of the little kind of squiggle, the around 6,000 figure to mean just the US because of what prefaced it, and it could mean 7,000 globally when he was talking about deliveries. Either way, they're getting back up there. We know the target for the Model 3 is 6,000 per week, and we're looking forward to the earnings call for Tesla, which will be August the 2nd. And I'm particularly looking forward to it. I'm hoping that'll be live streamed, not only by Tesla, but live streamed by certain other kind of big commentators who I like to follow, people like Ben at Teslanomics. Sometimes will do a live stream, but put himself in the corner and kind of just jump in and make comment on stuff. Not sure he's done that with the earnings calls before, but I'll look out for that because a little bit of context is sometimes nice for people like me. I don't track Tesla with real intimate detail. I like to cover all EVs and all electric cars for you and not get too fanboyish on Tesla, despite what some of the emails that say to me that I do too much of it. So I'll look for a little bit of context on that when the earnings call is next week. And finally, 2 more stories. Firstly, Fiat Chrysler automobiles coping with a difficult last week with the sudden passing away of Sergio Marchionne. On the same day, they also had to get down to business, and that's enormously difficult, isn't it, for everyone at Ferrari and everyone at FCA. But that news was largely overshadowed because of his passing, and I think rightly so as well, because business can take a back seat when something like that happens. But just to recap on what was announced earlier in the week, which you may have missed, their 5-year plan. And Fiat Chrysler automobiles have this as their bullet points, spending $10 billion on EV development over the next 4 years. From this year to 2022, a $10 billion investment in development of EVs. They're going to put a larger focus on Jeep, Ram, Maserati and Alfa Romeo. They're going to move away from diesel and methane-powered engines. They're going to produce 14 EVs and 4 battery EVs. So I should say 14 electrified vehicles and 4 pure battery vehicles for Jeep by 2021. They are going to mix up the SRT and electric vehicles by making performance-orientated electric vehicles. They're going to compete with Tesla by making electric versions of Maseratis, and they're going to expand the Fiat 500e with a wagon model. And some of that we knew already, some of it had been hinted to, and some of that is new detail, and that is the headline of their 5-year plan. Well, finally, big automakers are breaking themselves apart to try and compete with the agile business that is those coming out of Silicon Valley. In fact, over the weekend, if you missed the special yesterday, we're talking to the managing director of a company called Avid Technologies here in the UK. They make the bits that go inside EVs, particularly heavy-duty EVs and trucks. And he was saying that one of the things, and he's been doing this for many, many years, that he, from a perspective of a supplier of parts to electric car makers, is that some of those legacy car makers, those OEMs as they're called, are less agile than new startups, and they're aware of that and they're trying to fix it. Well, Daimler, the parent company of Mercedes-Benz, is now splitting itself up into 3 companies in order to make itself fit for the future. They announced today Mercedes-Benz, Daimler's truck division and Daimler's mobility division are all going to be independent entities. According to Sean O'Kane at The Verge, by splitting themselves into different pursuits and discrete companies, Daimler says it hopes to give each one entrepreneurial freedom and stronger market and customer focus and the ability to strike up faster and more flexible partnerships in order to compete with the constantly evolving auto industry. Well, earlier this week as well, Ford announced a new autonomous vehicles company, and they're splitting themselves so their EVs and their electric cars and their autonomous cars come from a totally separate company away from Ford. The American automaker announced on Wednesday it's restructuring its global business. And it's interesting how this year seems to have been such a year of flux and change and really big bits of news, not just new cars coming, but huge organisational restructures as people start to, well, they've been looking to the future for a long time, but start to realise some of the nuanced details of what electric cars are going to do to their business. Well, thank you very much for listening today. What's this episode? 195. A few more to go will be episode 200, and a bit of an announcement for that, which I'm super excited about. In the meantime, all the previous ones, all 194 previous ones, are on all the usual podcast places. We put the audio on YouTube, and the blog is evnewsdaily.com. It would really help me out, and it would mean the world to me if you could share the podcast with your friends, with any of your family members interested in electric cars. Hopefully we cover it all in enough detail for beginners and experts alike. I know it's tough. Some people always want more detail, more granular, and some are new to the podcast and are like, whoa, what's BEV, what's all the terms? And so we try and cover all bases, but if you can share this on a forum, online, on your socials, it really would mean everything to me. In the meantime, say hi on the socials at Facebook, LinkedIn and Twitter by searching EV News Daily. Do have a wonderful day. I will catch you for a brand new week tomorrow.